Hello, everyone. Very welcome to this session on the topic Crisis Preparedness at the Border, voluntary participation. My name is Nicklas Guldåker, and I work as a senior researcher at Nordregio, which is a Nordic research center for regional development and planning, including themes like crisis preparedness, the topic for today, regional resilience and sustainable development. I'm also an associate professor in human geography at Lundas University. In the background, there will be we have information about a game. Hopefully the slide will come up very soon. You can see an image with a QR code linking to the Nordica Crisis Management game, which has recently been translated into Latvian and launched by the Nordic Council of Ministers office in Latvia. So, developed by Nordregio, the game explores sustainability, resilience, and crisis preparedness, how they can be integrated in practice. So please scan the QR code to access the game in both Latvian and English. So, as a moderator for this session, I relate to the topic from a research background, with a particular focus on risk, vulnerability, and crisis preparedness. A central part of my research focus on the role of citizens and voluntary actions in crisis. I will give a short example of that from my earlier studies. During two severe storms that hit Sweden and also Latvia, 2005 and 2007, when roads were blocked by thousands of trees, electrical power failed, and community became isolated in the woods. It was often the residents who acted first, helping neighbors, clearing roads, restoring basic functions. This 2005 storm, I don't know if anyone remember it, it also hit or felt in Latvia. And it also highlights how the same event can create different vulnerabilities across the Baltic and the Nordic region. These experiences show that voluntary groups are crucial during crisis and can also contribute to long-term preparedness. In some communities, after the storm, citizen initiative continued, and they started to work on local risk reduction and preventive measures. However, voluntary engagement is difficult to sustain over time, while crises often trigger strong mobilizations, participation may decline. And collaboration with authorities can be challenging. This raises a key question, not whether voluntary action matters, but how it can be supported, sustained, and integrated into a broader preparedness system. In this panel, we will bring this perspective into dialogue and explore their implication for future preparedness and resilience. So therefore, we have brought together a very strong panel consisting of Evita Savica, an experienced volunteer supporting Ukrainian refugees at the Latvian border. We have Inga Belousa, a civil society actor and NGO representative from Daugavpils. And we have from Norway, Torill Tandberg, Special Director at the Norwegian Directorate for Civil Protection. And last but certainly not least, Ville Väyrynen, President of the Nordic Council, 2026. It's a privilege to have you here with us today, and we greatly appreciate your willingness to share your knowledge, your expertise on volunteering, civil society and institutional approaches to crisis preparedness. So, each of you will now briefly share your perspectives and experiences. I will start with Evita, but before she talks, I would give a longer presentation because she has a lot on her CV. Eva Savica has been supporting Ukrainian refugees at the Latvian border since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. With more than 20 years of experience as a translator, yes, and a professional background in international migration, she combines extensive expertise with first-hand experience from the field. Working in Latvia's eastern border region of Latgale, sorry for my pronunciation, she has coordinated with volunteers, local communities, and humanitarian organizations, witnessing how spontaneous civic initiatives evolved into long-term support network during times of crisis. Very important work. Her experience also reflects the complexity of volunteering in border region where parts of the population hold pro-Russian views or express negative attitude towards Ukrainian refugees. The social and the political tensions have made the humanitarian work more challenging, requiring volunteers to navigate not only to practical needs, but also to topics like mistrust, polarization, local sensitivities. In addition to humanitarian work, Evita is also a journalist for an online news portal, where she continues to report on social issues while remaining actively involved in voluntary initiatives. So, Evita, please develop this further.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you for being here. Just in 2 words about what Rubicus is. It's an international network of volunteers with headquarters in Germany and in the US. And after the onset of the full-scale war in Ukraine, they needed local volunteers in all the important hubs through which the refugee routes went. And so one of these hubs was Daugavpils, and I volunteered, and with time I gathered a strong team of volunteers, of volunteer drivers to meet Ukrainian refugees at the border, because we are at about 30 kilometers from the Belarus border, and Belarus was one of the countries through which the refugees from occupied territories could flee the war. So initially we were 2, and later on we understood that the flow is too intense and we needed help. And here is where the magic of social networks and the magic of media worked. I wrote a post on my Facebook looking for help for volunteer drivers to join our team. And the media I now work in, it posted this topic, and so we gathered a team of drivers. But of course, we not only drove people from border and just told them goodbye. We tried to help them as much as possible. It included feeding, accommodating, helping with visits to doctors, vets, dentists, helping with clothes, or for people who stayed in Daugavpils, we helped to communicate with local authorities, to make all the formalities. And of course the experience was quite vast, and we managed to help a lot of people, more than 2,000, and that's quite a lot for a small team. I would tell about about the challenges and obstacles we met. First of all, as Nicklas has already said, it's pro-Russian, pro-Putin society, and big hatred, unfortunately, towards Ukrainians in our city, and it was difficult to cope with it. Even relatives, even friends could say, why you are helping those Ukrainians, why, how can you? But of course, we went on. Then the second problem was the unexpected nature of our work, because we always knew when a refugee will be at the border, but we never knew when he will come out, or she. And so a driver should have always been aware and to be ready to set on just at any moment, even at night. So not everyone could manage. And also wrong expectations. Sometimes people just thought that a refugee should be, I don't know, hungry, thin, in torn clothes, and they were not ready to see some people who look totally normally, because they were not poor. They were fleeing the war. And also cherry picking. There were drivers, for instance, who did not accept who could not help gypsies or young men who fled from the occupation. So after some time, only a few of us have left. Yes, and of course, burning out and PTSD, they're also real. They hit hard, and since the war belongs quite a long time, it's a marathon, and not everyone was able to stay till the end. And what are superpowers that let us go on? First of all, it's the community power. It's Facebook, it's media who supported us. It's also help from friend to friend when people just took their friends, and they also helped us. Then a very interesting moment is gamification. For instance, once we understood that we needed a headquarters, and we rented a flat. It was a flat in the center of the city, on the ground floor, just what we needed, and several volunteers from our group, 4 volunteers, each of us had a key of this flat, and so we called ourselves the Order of 4 Keys. And I think this moment of maybe some fairy tales of being feeling like night, maybe it helped us to not to burn out in this intense situation. And also a very interesting moment, it was the age, because all of our volunteers in our team are 55 plus. I am the youngest one, and I think it helps them to stay, because the younger ones, they are very maximalist, they're white or black kind, and so at the end of the day, left only people who understood quite well that the human life, the human well-being, and the human dignity is of utmost importance, and nothing else matters. That's it. I don't know what to say.
Thank you, Vita. Maybe a follow-up question. So it seems to be that quite stressful situation for you, working together and trying to hold up the so to say the helping hand to the refugees.
Yeah.
And how did you manage? How did you come through that? How could you sustain that over time?
Actually, I don't remember myself sleeping during the first 2 years, but I understood that there are people who depend on me, that there are drivers who I work with, and they need some sleep. They should be. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. So I just felt the responsibility, and I went on That's it.
Yeah, impressive work. So maybe we should continue then. I will, thank you. We will come back to you in a minute or in a couple of minutes. The next speaker here is Inga Belousa. She is the co-founder and chair of the board of the NGO Cita Daugavpils and member of the environment NGO Green Liberty. She holds a PhD and has more than 25 years of experience in education, research, and civil society engagement. And you're based in Daugavpils, and Inga works a lot with try to understand and mobilize, sustain civic participation in neighborhood communities, while promoting responsible and circular consumption, a topic you work a lot with today. Reducing food waste, encouraging climate-friendly lifestyles, and advancing education for sustainable development and system change. So, Inga, please give your reflections on the topic.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Evita. I think that after your story, I could just start that the organization Cita Daugavpils, or in English, another Daugavpils, is an organization with experience that is very much developing in this. And I cannot say that we are very rich in experience, but with the development, we see ourselves as a strong power because we have resources and we have interests to participate, that our regional resilience would become stronger. So that's why my story would be based on 3 ideas. And all those ideas are at the moment like infrastructural barriers for me and for my organization members, and we are looking forward to solve them. That's why we are speaking about them with you and sharing them in a very public way. So first of all, I would like to speak about the border area. And here you see the map. And I see the maps are always very strong and very powerful tools for our understanding. And with the border area, I would say that we have very personal or very subjective understanding what means border area. What does the border region, where does it begin? If I ask this question to my friends from Brussels, then I strongly say, receive the answer that border area is Latvia and all the Baltic countries and Ukraine and Finland and so on. But when I ask to my friends from Riga, then border region is, of course, it is Daugavpils, it is the place where I live. And then when I work with youth and civil activists in Daugavpils, I receive the answer, no, this city is not the border area. The border area is somewhere very close to the border, like 5 kilometers away. So it means that we still have very subjective experience, and sometimes or very much it influences how we are involved. If we hear that this is an initiative for border region, if I recognize that I'm in the border region, that I might not come, or I might come if I see that I belong to this region. Another thing is that maps always, they highlight and help us to identify with the border region. That's why the map is here, as I told you. And my next idea here connected with the border region is that it is not only military defense that is very important to and very topical to the region. First of all, it is civil security because of people who live there and who live here in the border region. So I would like to say that civil security must be strengthened, and there are several ways how to do that. So what we do in our organization, we speak with people, we ask questions, and I share some of the questions here on the slide. That first of all, what is it like to live in this eastern border region? What is cool? What is not cool? what is missing and what we could do. Another question that is very important, how does the border region influence your life? Because it is, could be that there are some particularities that come from the border region on your life as well, because of the choices and identities. And the thing is that each of us, we have talents, we have hobbies, we have jobs, and maybe we can share our resources as well to make the border region to be more resilient. And of course, it should be done in the way. Next, my idea is about safety and resilience. And here I would like to say that resilience cannot be implemented from above. It cannot be implemented from the center. And it always should move to the border region, and we should do a lot of activities about this ourselves. And if we are just people who are listening or people who are waiting for directions, maybe we are not doing quite a good job on making our own resilience in the region as well. Next one is local community development. And we, my organization, we believe that this is the key actually for good life in the region. And if we do not have communities, if we do not know our neighbors, if we do not work with them together or communicate, then it might be that we have a lot of loneliness in our life and then a lot of space for troubles and a lot of space of not safety. And we are just cannot fill this with the support from our neighbors as well. Another thing here is that emergencies and crises, they actually activate us a lot. And all the civil society organizations really flourish in those times because we have common ideas that we should develop and we should solve. But here it is very important that local activism should be done for peaceful times as well. We should not think only about crises and civil activism there, but peaceful and joyful times, they need it as much as it should be. Without infrastructures of those who are doing some volunteerism and infrastructures of multi-stakeholder networking, without those, it is pretty hard to initiate volunteerism as well. If we do not have those infrastructures, but here I have the question, who actually should sustain them and create them? Is it people, or is it a municipality level decision, or is it nationwide or countrywide decision? And always if you think, yes, local people would, or activists would create those initiatives themselves, and they would save all the communities and resilience, no. It is that we are part of it, but we cannot do a lot without participation in the networking. Then I think that nation-level tools should actually ensure cooperation with municipalities, because if there is a choice, if you do not have any choice for municipality level to invite NGOs to come together, then maybe it doesn't happen. And if there is a requirement, first of all, then maybe in those times where we are, it is very much needed. And then I put the question actually about participation of NGOs in the common decision making. And here, which step of the participation ladder are we on when we are cooperating with municipalities? And see, please, all those steps here. Those steps are different, and probably you have known them a lot. And I think that the most sadness comes when we are in the middle level, where we see that tokenism is that we do have some initiatives, we can do some participation, even municipalities consult us or ask some questions, and thank you, that's it, and we do not work together. I think that we should have a kind of a national level tool that provoke us to go the ladder up. And my last idea is about trust. And actually, if you have a lot of myth about civil society, then it is very different to make the trust that you are doing all those methodologies. I think that each of us, we can find the myths that are known for ourselves and probably have heard from others, and each of us can just laugh at them because they are really making some unbelievable obstacles for us to come into our system. And my last thought here is that these myths and misconceptions are actually hiding very low awareness and poor contact with civil society. I think that if we solve them, or if we have contact with civil society, then cooperation and networking is flourishing. If we are having those myths in our mind and decision making, then it is pretty hard to do. So this is my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Inga. Very interesting, many topics to continue to discuss, but I just wonder, it seems to me that you are lifting up the local community as the key actor for resilience. Do you have any examples of that from your work or challenges?
Yeah. So some examples, what we do is we are activizing networking communities in Daugavpils. We have 25 neighborhoods in the city, and if we look at those neighborhoods, we would really love to have coordinators of each neighborhood, and within this network I think that you would have stronger resilience. We have developed around 10 different tools, practical tools, how to speak with people about neighborhoods, how to speak about neighborhood resources, how to speak about your willingnesses and your fears. And I think that actually we are doing this for 3 years already in the city, and within after each year we have stronger answers from the public that yes, they have learned, and previous years they participated already, but of course we cannot solve everything only within NGO. So we should be part of the decision makers on the municipality level, and then our decisions would be stronger and our resources would be more fit to the common system from the municipality.
A very important work you are doing. I think that could be also interesting to follow up in the future. So, next speaker, we have Torill Tandberg. We will lift up the topic to more on European level. Torill Tandberg is a special director at the Norwegian Director of Civil Protection. That's the long version. DSB is the short version. Working with more international cooperation and total defense. She coordinates programs aimed at strengthening crisis preparedness and resilience across several European countries, funded by the AEA and Norwegian grants. You will talk more about that. This includes a program also in Latvia with the objectives improve disaster resilience and more resilient, inclusive and sustainable communities. She brings also an institutional and policy-oriented perspective on how preparedness systems are developed and implemented. So, Torill, please develop this.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity to come here and say a few words also about the EEA and Norway grant, which is Norway's mainstay for cooperation with the EU and European EU member states, because we are not a member of the EU, but we have access to the single market, and this agreement set out a kind of common goal to work together to reduce social and economic disparities in Europe. And one important goal in addition to this is that we want to have bilateral relations between Norway and the beneficiary states. And we think this EA Norway grant is a good opportunity for the beneficiary countries to lift up different types of challenges and work they want to do in the future. So when I come, if you see here from the slides, the main and the overarching, shall I say, a message of this EA Norway grant is a green, democratic and resilient Europe. And from our side in Norway, we see that when building resilience in the 15 countries that are receiving these funds, we also build resilience in Europe, not only in each of the states. And I will come back to what kind of topics we are covering. And I do this, I don't need that. So in Latvia, the program is about local development and resilience. And the specific focus in this program is enhancing resilience of Latvia through strengthening the civil protection infrastructure. So in this program, there is now coming up renovation and about shelters in your country, all around the country, and also generators in some hospitals and medical institutions. Also, modernization and expansion of the emergency alarm sirens network, which is an important issue for the early warning system of the population in case of crisis. And the community engagement, the capacity building and preparedness activities in not only at the national level but also at the municipal level, and the program is also lifting up how to involve NGOs, how to involve so we can have the engagement in the societies. So this is about capacity building, crisis and emergency preparedness and coordination. And in the agreement between Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein and Latvia, they also had asked them, or they agreed on having a special attention on the Latgal region, the eastern part of your country. And the plan is that it will, that is from the State Fire Service, they will in a few years introduce what is called Resilience Weeks. We do have that in our country as well, Preparedness Week. Many years ago, we stole the idea from Sweden to have those kinds of Preparedness Week every year. And in Latvia now, there's going to be in 3 years that they will plan for each year to have some of these Resilience Week. And this will also, the first one, I think it will be in 2028, because now they're in a planning phase. And the idea is to launch the first in the region of Latgal in Daugavpils, yes, and to see what needs are there, but also kind of it will be a nationwide week where the population really can work at education. There will be different activities, and as an example, from our country, last year, when we had this Resilience Week, we were talking about how can you find a preparedness friend. It's something what you mentioned. How can you bring communities together, and how can we help each other? Imagine people living in flats, people living maybe in a long distance from each other. You need to come together and you need to help each other. So that is something, one example of that. You can have a topic during that week. This year's topic will be about ECOM system. How, when that fails, how can we cope with that, and what will the municipality do? How can NGOs and volunteer organizations also contribute? And in addition to this, there will be a strengthened capacity and involvement of NGO in the civil protection and resilience building. You said it needs also to come from the bottom, but I think you need to have some advices, guidance, and even regulation from a national level. And I guess it's same in your country that it is in our country, that the responsibility of our well-being that lies with the municipalities. But the municipalities alone, they cannot do everything. They also need to rely on volunteers and also on NGOs, but not only in a spontaneous way, but also be more predictable. And that means that you should plan, and you should make sure that there is a good cooperation and a good climate to do that in peacetime. I think that is something we should try to focus on, and not only pop up with the spontaneous when something happens. But you need to do that as well. So that was the last thing I will mention. Is it's also about culture. In this program, or in a project, in this program, there is also a cultural part, which is also about the Daugavpils. And I think in this geopolitical tension and the war in Ukraine, it's so important to protect our cultural heritage, and also make that the population and at the local level also think and see the value of protecting those cultural heritage, because they are part of our heart and soul and identity. So this is how the EA Norway grant can contribute, and I am really looking forward to this, because it will be a cooperation between the two countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Torill. Super interesting, having this overarching perspective also from the EU and also national level. But I have one question in mind, is that, you know, this arena for meeting between national initiatives and local initiatives, so how can that be matched in a good way?
In our countries, we do have a big trust, but we have quite strict regulations for the municipalities. And not only regulation, we have a county governor that are doing kind of surveillance and inspections and look after that your municipality are following the rule. But the Norwegian municipality, they are quite independent from the state level, I will say, and they are also interested in involving the local population to involve, but not only involve them, but to cooperate with them. And I think to create this atmosphere of good cooperation, collaboration, and good communication between the parties is important. And because a municipality, they cannot do everything during a crisis. One example I think it was in 2001, there was a quick clay landslide north of Oslo. 10 people died. It was a very dramatic crisis, happened the day before New Year's Eve. And many people lost their homes. They were evacuated to a hotel closed nearby, didn't have anything. And then the municipality there, they have an agreement with an NGO. They came, it's the Norwegian Women Health Organization, and they helped the people that were evacuated, and they helped the responders with food, because this was a long-lasting crisis. So I think to have this, be prepared of what do we do, that there are clear the roles and the responsibilities between the municipality, the responders, and the volunteers is clear. I think that is good. And then you can practice. And that is what we are going to do this year. It's the year of total defense, and we have created a system of exercises where you can exercise all those levels during wartime, is that scenario.
Okay, thank you, Torill. So we will move over to our next speaker, who is Ville Väyrynen. He's a Finnish member of the parliament and a National Coalition Party, and serves as a president for the Nordic Council 2026. His presidency program 26 focuses very much on Nordic comprehensive security. That is right. Including crisis preparedness, security of supply, health security, and societal resilience. And I know internationally you are also active in the Nordic Arctic cooperation. In addition to this, your role as the president of the Nordic Council in 2026, and chair of the Finnish delegation to the Nordic Council since 2024. Is that right? You have also been member of the Conference of Parliamentarians of the Arctic region since 2025, and member of the Forum for International Affairs since 2024. Many years, but it's very important. Ville also holds several parliamentary roles dealing with very important topics like social affairs, health, education, finance, environmental issues, and municipal welfare. I know that health is close to your heart since you're a surgeon, and also a specialist, have a specialist degree in medicine. So now when you are heard, Evita, Inga, and Torill, and also Finland and Åland host the presidency of the Nordic Council 2026 with a strong focus on Nordic security and on strengthened crisis preparedness and cooperation across the Nordics and Baltic regions. We also know that Finland has a very long border with Russia. I think you have more than half of the length of the all Nordic and Baltic countries together. So what are your general reflections, what has been said, also maybe a special role of civil preparedness, coming back to the topic today of border regions? Please, Ville.
Thank you. First of all, that was the best CV I've ever heard of myself. I usually just tell that my name is Ville Väyrynen and that's it. And this was nice. If you can give it to me, I can use it afterwards. But first of all, yeah, thank you for having me here. And it's an honor to be here. And it's nice to have a talk after the specialists have, or experts have given theirs. I can be this freestyle politician to give more philosophical point of view. But to reflect on a couple of things that's been said. First one was actually quite interesting about defining the border region and whether it's 5 kilometers from Russian border or whether it's whole Nordic and Baltic together or something in between. And I think in Finland the philosophy is that the whole Finland is the border region, and how we see the preparedness and comprehensive security, we don't so much separate different regions in Finland. Of course, if you talk hard defense and what military is doing, of course they have their focus points. But in general philosophy, the whole Finland is one border region for Russia, especially at these moments. When it comes to Nordic Council, as you said, this year the presidency program revolves around comprehensive security. And personally, I'm glad that whenever we are talking about comprehensive security or preparedness, we are shifting the focus point away from the hard security and defense, and not because it's not important, but it's kind of it's natural for everyone. We are NATO countries, and we know that we have to have our budget for defense, and we have to raise it, and there's no argument over that. But the Finnish philosophy that we try to bring to the presidency program is comprehensive security, which goes through the society, all the levels, all the way to the individual. We've been talking about municipalities, state, and cooperation between state and municipalities. Are they independent or not? And what we try to do in Finland, we try to have this network of cooperation between different sectors, whether it's health, army, police, education, environment, infrastructure, and then it should go all the levels also, so that every individual in the country, they first of all they feel that they are included in this, and then even more importantly, they know what to do when some kind of scenario hits them. The other point I want to make is what actually the moderator made quite clear, that we are living in a world that's on fire at the moment. We know what is happening in the Middle East. We know what's happening behind our eastern border. Unfortunately, we know what's going around Greenland and those discussions. But then again, and it's clear that we have to be prepared for that kind of crisis. But we also have we have so many different kind of crises. We have storms. We had COVID. We might have uncontrolled immigration. We had 2015. So modern society has to be prepared, and it's not only war or some kind of a violent conflict. It's just the way it is, that there are something to be prepared for coming anyway. It might happen next week, or it might happen in 2 weeks, 2 years time, or next decade. And the problem with the preparedness is that we have to be prepared. Everyone has to be alert and know what they are expected to do and what they need to do when something happens. But then on the other hand, we don't need to make people afraid. We don't need to make them afraid of something. So there has to be some kind of balance being prepared. As you said, healthcare is quite close to my heart, and I had a privilege to visit Ukraine last year with the healthcare committee, and one of the most important, interesting questions I asked them was that regarding the preparedness. When we're talking about preparedness and healthcare, we always talk about this military medicine, and if war starts, how we're going to treat our wounded. But then again, there's still the civilian medicine needs. That it doesn't go away. We still have heart attacks, we still have birds, and we still have ICUs needed for civilian society also. And it was really interesting to hear how they can keep up with the two systems parallel to each other, and how much do they do cooperation, how separate they are, and so on. But in the big picture, the message we want to send from Finland and from Nordic Council is that comprehensive security is so much more than defense or security or foreign politics. It's about school kids, it's about hospitals, it's about police, it's about teachers. And what we've done in Finland, we have this national defense course, which has been running from, I think, 1960 or something. And it's aimed for leaders in different sectors of society, politicians, hospital CEOs, from business world, teachers, and they go through this course, which takes 3 or 4 weeks, and basically everyone who is in a leading position in society, they go it, and they are taught how to do cooperation between different sectors, different levels. And myself, I'm going there on October. And everyone that's gone through that course, there are about 10,000 people in Finland at the moment, and they said that it's one of the best courses they've ever had, and it gives this idea of comprehensive security, which they are supposed to spread around in their institutions and organizations. So that's one of the main philosophies behind our program. I think we are running out of time, so I'm a politician. I could speak forever. On the other hand, I'm a surgeon, so I can stop talking at any time. So that we have some time for moderator and questions.
Thank you, Ville. Very interesting. I think you're right about the time. Time flies. So, and we have. I have many questions to ask the panel, but I think we should open up for some questions from the audience, if there are any. Yes.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Giovanna. I'm a journalist, a freelancer, and I have a question for Inga. because you were talking about how you have about 25 neighborhoods in your hometown and you're trying to bring people together. And I spent a lot of time working in the Balkans, where you still have like communities that are divided along ethnic lines, and they kind of cooperate, but not always, and it doesn't always work. So I was wondering, what are the main points of fragmentation in your hometown where people don't come together? And what are the main things that pull them closer together?
Thank you very much. These are very strong questions, actually. And I would say that we should be researchers to answer them in a very sincere way. But I still can answer based on my observations and my experience. And this is, I should say, my very subjective observation and experience, but this is a very decent one. So I think that the main impact could be that we are still, as a society, we are still recovering from Soviet times, where we were more locked inside in our family lives and somehow reluctant to our neighbors and not very cooperative with them. That is my first thought. Another thought is that during Soviet times, the cooperatives and shared values and shared things, the initiative, it was brilliant, but it was totally not implemented in the way that it should be. And it could be that there is a strong mistrust of everything like that. And I see this mistrust more in in the border area, not in big cities, because as people we go back and forth to different countries as well, and probably those who live in bigger cities, they travel more as well. Those who stay in very rural areas, we are pretty traditional in this way as well. What gives me hope, and there are a lot of signs of hope, when you see that we can solve questions together with our neighbors, that we can be more successful together than we are alone. This is one of the most significant experiences that can change things. And even sometimes speaking with my neighbors when we are organizing some activities and didn't receive anything that we wanted to receive. So still we are discussing that it is great that now we know more people with whom we cooperate and with whom we could be bigger community of making changes. And thank you for the question.
Okay, we have room for at least one more question. No? Then we will try to summarize this session. We have a couple of more minutes. And I would just ask the panelists here about the main takeaways from this discussion. And I will start. So you can have some seconds to think. And I think this perception of borders, what does it mean for a region or a country, is different. That is something we need to discuss. That is one takeaway. And also we need to emphasize the role between authorities and voluntary in different parts of the landscape. That is very important. We have to work more with the relations, with the cooperation between different levels. So that was two of my takeaways. Evita?
Yes, thank you. I have to say I liked very much how this discussion is organized. from the smallest initiative to bigger, bigger, and the biggest. And I think that's how it is in real life when it comes to volunteering, when it comes to helping and being meaningful. I think if you do something important, you should speak, you should be heard, you should be seen. And that's the only way to find people who will assist you. And I think that's what we do here.
Short reflections? Yes, thank you.
My takeaway is that I'm very glad that there are still people here, maybe not from the rural areas, or maybe from the rural areas or the eastern border area, that are interested in this discussion. I think that your interest is my takeaway, and of course my takeaway is my colleague experience here in the discussion as well. Thank you.
Thank you, and listen to what you have all said. I think the most important takeaway for me in my work and being here is that it's so important that the resources that the volunteer represent, the resources at the municipal level and national level, they need to find each other and need to kind of cooperate in the best possible way, so it can be both effective and also that they have their kind of dedicated role and the respect and trust for each other. I think that is one thing we need to take away. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that we need nationwide coordination regarding preparedness and security, but we need cooperation that goes through the society and all the levels, so that there's no overlapping and everyone knows what they're doing. And I think that's the most effective way to do it. And then again, we must be prepared, but not afraid. So that's something that we have to take responsibility for.
Thank you, Ville. Thank you. And I would just, before we close this session, I would like to return to this QR code. Please scan it and look at the game and see about the game and the Nordic crisis management game. That is something you can bring home to you and work with it in practice, not just theoretical things. That is something that actually matters. So please take that with you. That was the end of it. I think I would especially thank the panel here for excellent inputs, and also, thank you all for inviting us to this excellent, very warm festival. Thank you very much, everyone.